What's going on, peeps? Mastermyne here. So today's video I'm going to be talking about Killer Instinct and the Killer Instinct World Cup that is taking place this March between the 10th and the 12th in San Antonio, Texas. Now the big news coming out of this is that teabagging has been officially banned in this tournament. Now I have a lot to speak about, but before I begin, the video footage you're going to be seeing here is a couple of matches I had with Sadira the other night. So I hope you enjoy that. They were pretty good sets. Anyway, moving on. So we all know that taunting has been a real big part of the fighting game community for some time, and you see it in almost any kind of competitive gaming or any competition in general. We see it in boxing, we see it in basketball and football and baseball. There's always going to be somebody, some player, some athlete, some gamer, whatever it is, whatever you're competing in, there's always going to be somebody that's going to taunt in some way. Now, different leagues and different places have certain rules. And most times those rules are designed to keep the competition respectful towards one another, and also so that way the audience doesn't get too crazy and too riled up when they see their favorite player, their favorite athlete going overboard. So I can understand that to a certain degree. But this is a little bit different because when you take away this kind of aspect of the game, it kind of removes a little bit of the emotion and the excitement that the game is generating to begin with. The game itself has a taunt button, so when you have characters like Fulgore who can flick you off with their middle finger, or one of the characters, they'll actually say something to you that kind of tells you that you suck or you're garbage, or they shake their head or whatever it is. It's part of the game. It's part of the trash talking and part of the whole concept of the game. Teabagging is probably the most disrespectful thing you can do in an actual video game to show your kind of disrespect or your disdain for your opponent. So they want to actually take that aspect out of it. Now, before I even get into my opinion on what I think about the whole mess, there is actually a reason why this was implemented. So let me just go into a little bit of detail on that. So basically what happened was there was a discussion apparently on Facebook of all places. It was in a Killer Instinct Facebook group, and it got kind of ugly. They went from just having a conversation to all of a sudden threatening physical violence. The funny thing I find is that they were initially talking about Shadow Jago, and for me, Shadow Jago has caused me plenty of times to yell, scream, and curse, so I can understand it. But apparently somewhere in this conversation, they were actually talking about some match or some online event or something that happened, and I guess where somebody teabagged there, and it just got more and more serious as the conversation went on, and they had to actually shut down the whole thing. And I just find this a little bit crazy. I can understand trying to have a certain level of respect, and if you're trying to have a forum or you're trying to have a comment section where people are discussing the game and talking about the game, and you want to be able to keep it clean enough so that way anybody jumping in there can read it and they're not bombarded with profanity and violence and that sort of thing. And I can understand them shutting down that Facebook post or whatever it was. But for them to transfer that and go all the way to an actual competition where a fight didn't break out and threats of violence didn't happen and nothing super disrespectful occurred, I kind of question what the real motivation behind this is. Now, I don't doubt that that was the thing that sprung it and started it, but I don't know, it just seems to be a little bit deeper to me than that, because the fighting game community has a lot of promise and it seems to be growing, but it's growing at a slow pace. It's not really taking off the way other video game genres are. We're now starting to really hit that esports market, especially with Evo and being on ESPN, but it's still very, very tiny. And I think one of the problems that the FGC has had, and I've spoken about this before and a lot of people don't agree with me, but it's really not that inclusive. And when you go on there and you go online, or when you start playing with someone, you get your ass beat and people teabag you, they send you nasty messages, they're laughing on the chat, and it really does discourage a lot of people from wanting to play. It intimidates a lot of people. If you're watching a tournament and you see someone teabagging, if you're not really into fighting games or understand the culture, you may be a little bit offended by that. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not offended by it. It's kind of silly to me. And whenever I get teabagged, if I'm still in that match and I come back and win, I'm going to teabag the shit out of them when I'm done. So that's just the way I see it. But A lot of people don't view it that way. A lot of people do feel intimidated and don't like that sort of behavior. And maybe what they're trying to do is clean everything up. And I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, I don't want it to be a thing where people can't be who they are. If you're the kind of competitor where you're going to talk a lot of smack and you're going to get up there and you're going to teabag, between every combo and, taunt and do whatever you want to do, let it happen, because the moment that person gets beat, all the people hating them, they're going to be cheering. And for the people who like that kind of stuff, they're going to be cheering every time that person wins, and it adds emotion to the game. Don't take that away. Don't make the players be something that they're not. Let them express themselves within the game. As long as they're not cheating, as long as they're not being disrespectful as far as getting in someone's face or, talking about their mother or some craziness like that, as long as they keep it within the game and keep the trash talk just about the game, I think it should be fine. I don't think they should mess with that at all. Now, the consequences for teabagging in this particular competition is that you will be banned from all World Cup events for the entire 2017 season. Now, the Killer Instinct World Cup administrator and community leader, Brandon Alexander, further went into explaining why this rule is in place. So, some of his tweets reads as follows: "The reason is simple sportsmanship/professionalism. Plus, on top of that, it seems to be causing players to start threatening others. We promote a fun, professional, and safe experience, not a violent and unprofessional one. If you don't like it, you don't have to go to the Killer Instinct World Cup. We as a community have to start setting the standard." Now, the Killer Instinct designer Adam Hart disagrees with this, as do most of the people in the community. I don't think we need event organizers to start policing what people do in the actual game unless it has something to do with giving them an unfair advantage or just outright cheating. I mean, what's going to be next? You can't perform your 200 count ultras, or you can't do a stage ultra, or when ultimates come out, you're not allowed to do that because the person you're playing might be offended or might get upset. I mean, it's kind of bullshit, to be honest with you. Anyway, that is going to be it for this video. If you got something to say, leave a comment down below. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I am a tiny YouTube channel, and I do appreciate all of your support thus far. So thank you once again for tuning in, and until next time, Mastermyne out. Thank you once again for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more content, please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Mastermyne out.